4, 3, 2.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Discover Mercer County Business. I'm your host, Rod Wilt, and I'm the Executive Director of Penn-Northwest Development Corporation, and we are Mercer County, Pennsylvania's Certified Economic Development Organization. Our motto is, make it in Mercer County, and our role is to create low-cost financing solutions for recruiting, retaining, and growing jobs and business opportunities in every corner of our county. The sole purpose of this program is to showcase people and organizations that are making things happen here. We interview them to find out why they have chosen Mercer County, Pennsylvania as a great place to live, work, and play. We are producing this show in conjunction with Teal College students, faculty, and staff, and we're coming to you from the state-of-the-art TV and radio studios in the James Pettis Communications Center on Teal's campus in Greenville. If you would like to connect with our Improvement Movement team to see how you can make it in Mercer County, please visit our website at penn-northwest.com or give us a call at 724-662-3705. You can also find us on YouTube by searching Penn-Northwest Development Corporation, or you can connect with us on LinkedIn and other social media platforms. We hope that you enjoy this edition of Discover Mercer County Business, and today we welcome to our program a longtime friend of mine and our family, Randy Beck from the SCP Group, but we're going to start off by going back from when it was called SCP Group to the early days of Sharon Commercial Printing. So talk a little bit about the history of the company.
Well, thanks, Rod, and thanks for having me here this morning.
I'm really looking forward to this interview, Randy, really.
We started out as Sharon Commercial Printing. My parents bought it. It's been around for a long time. It was an offshoot of the Sharon Herald. The Sharon Herald had its own printing establishment. They did printing on the side while they weren't printing the newspaper.
So these would be brochures for businesses and placards and things like that.
And they made the decision to take that part of the business and shoot it out. And so all that equipment got moved into a location on East State Street in Sharon.
I remember it, yeah.
And so for years it was great. We have a great relationship with the Herald because obviously we're born from there.
Now, had your dad had a history with the Herald, or had he ever been in that business before?
My dad worked for the Bell Telephone. At that time it was called Bell Telephone Company, and he worked right across the street from where the company is. And so at that time, we lived in Lake Latonka in Mercer, and he became the editor of the Latonka News, I think it was called.
Right.
So
but
he needed
Lake
a printer.
Latonka wouldn't be what it is today back in the late 70s, right? It was just at the beginning of the development?
Yeah. The houses were modest at best compared to today's houses.
Yeah. Fascinating. So he saw this opportunity and left Bell Telephone and decided to be an entrepreneur and get into the printing business.
Yes, he did. And he got a good job for my brother and my mother. And I was a kid at the point, so at that point I was in charge of bathrooms and garbage.
Hey, everyone's got to start somewhere, man. That's amazing. So then you graduated from high school from Mercer, Hickory? Mercer. And then where for you?
Grove City College. Wonderful. And that's where I met my wife. So we've been married for a long time. She's not allowed to. I'm not allowed to say.
No,
how long
we're not
it
allowed
is.
to. Yeah, I'm getting to the point I'm not allowed to say mine anymore either. Yeah. But then you have a military background as well.
Yeah.
So after college, you enlisted?
After college, I became an officer. I went through ROTC, and then the military sent me off throughout the country. Enjoyed that. But whenever the time came for us to make a decision to want to have children, we said, military might not be the best option. We want to stick in one area. And because I watched all my other friends in the military and their kids were just bouncing and moving. So we were very, very happy thinking of coming back to Mercer County.
No, that's great. Well, that's why we do these programs, because we want the world to know that Mercer County is a great place to have a business and a great place to raise a family. And I've moved away, moved back, moved away, now back. And I'm just a champion for who we are and what we do up here. So take me back to when you started with the company. What did it look like then? And we're going to talk a lot about how we got from when you came back, which would have been the mid 80s, I would imagine, and what's happened the last 30 years there, 30 years plus.
Technology, when we first started, you could live on technology, the most current technology, and not have to migrate and move for 5 to 10 years. In this day and age, you can't go past 2 or 3 years. So something new comes out, some new technology, you have to kind of jump on it within 2 years. The separation between, say, like us and a Pittsburgh region or Cleveland, initially had its advantages, but now, I don't want to say disadvantage, but it forces us to stay on top of things much quicker and move faster into technology. And so it's positive. And then the internet has just made the world just extremely small. So my competition used to be regional. Now it's global.
Now it's whoever you can find when you Google a name to get printing done. So what has been the thing that's kept SCP or Sharon Commercial Printing going? Is it still those local customers? Is it still your customer base in Mercer County, those tried and true companies? And I also know you have a pretty big presence in the political landscape as well. At least you did. That's when I first got to know you when my dad was in office running for re-election, and we always had to truck down to SCP to pick up signs and placards. And then I remember you had this coolest machine where if we did a mailer, it would feed the letter through, fold it up, and actually put it into an envelope as well. That was really, that was interesting. You still doing some of that stuff?
Yeah, now we'll spray the address on too.
Oh, that's fantastic. All those licking stamps. I tell you, I think I wore my tongue out licking those stamps.
We have machines that do that too.
I wish I would have known about that 45 years ago. That would have been great.
They didn't exist.
Yeah,
So.
but let's talk about some of the core business. What keeps it rolling down there?
The core business, local, is still extremely important because we're able to develop relationships, physically meet them, see them. Not as much lately, but we're able to do that. The internet has opened the world up to us, which is good, but then it's opened up global competition. So it's an interesting balance that we have now.
But do you still get your share of business through e-commerce? I mean, are people finding you on the web here in Sharon, Pennsylvania?
Actually, that's what we've been working on for the past month, is how to get that SEO optimization exactly where you need it to be, so you're found on that first page whenever they Google you or search you. And that is tricky because you're competing against the world now. So
you talked about the technology. Let's expand on that a little bit. In 2022, obviously the world shut down a year and a half ago, now going on 2 years ago. How do you weather that storm, and what changes did you have to make in the business model to kind of adapt and move forward out of that? And then when I want to talk about the labor pool as well.
I would say that the state of Pennsylvania, or the PPP program, was great. So it kept us alive. And literally, I would say without it, we would not be talking. I wouldn't be talking to you as a business owner. We were able to weather it. Honestly, the business physically is in physically better shape than it's ever been because we took a year and of the employees coming in, and we worked on our own facility.
Interesting.
In amongst doing work for customers, but that really dropped off because nobody knew what was going on.
But it gave you an opportunity to kind of purge some of the stuff's been laying around for a while and kind of tighten up the business financially and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, so we used the time wisely, productively.
And when I walked into SCP as a kid, I remember the printers, the printing press, all that stuff. What does it look like now when you walk in there?
You won't see them anymore. They're off in a production area.
Okay, but you're still using some of that press stuff for annual reports and
probably since you're there, I think I have 1 or 2 pieces that's still there. But and those are good, solid pieces of equipment that are built to last another 10 years. But Everything else is relatively new, needs to be to keep up.
And are you still doing the, are you printing with liquids or are you printing with powders? I mean, I just know my own printer that we have in our offices, is it a lot of ink still, or are you using a lot of these powdered type printing?
So there's traditional offset printing, and it is made for high quality in long runs, and it really reduces the unit cost of the piece. Digital technology is wonderful for short run variable data. So in other words,
so those long runs are more liquid
your
ink.
traditional offset printing,
Okay.
ink on paper versus toner on paper. And then inkjet is now the new technology that's coming out, which will be extremely popular, is popular now, but they're still developing the technology to get the quality up. So
a lot of the companies we talked to, Randy, before we take our first break, are having trouble on the labor side, getting enough workers to actually keep up with production. How have you guys seen your business come out of COVID with your employees, and what are you hearing from them about their excitement level about coming back to work? And
any print shop will say that their employees are gold. That is the core of any print shop, because there is so much they have to know. And it takes years, if not decade, to learn it all and be productive. So I did everything humanly possible to keep them. And
that's where the PPP money really came in and helped that.
So yeah, we kept them. We didn't lose. We lost one, and that was just a normal move. But so that was the good news. We kept them all happy. We kept them employed.
What does a new employee look like? Who do you look for to bring into the fold in that almost apprentice level? What type of expertise, what type of education do they need to have to get into the print business?
That's a good, tough question. It depends on where they're going into. If they're going into the traditional older offset printing mode, that is going to be more and more difficult to find someone.
That's an old school job there, huh?
Yeah. Well, it's using new technology, fascinating new technology, but they have had to have kind of been mentored and brought up in this. This is not a technology or a job that you can learn in a couple of years. This is it's like
how do you find that
mentorship.
person in Mercer County, or do you have to recruit them from outside to come in?
Us printers are stealing from each other. That's really the only way we can do it right now.
Okay.
Or know that, yeah, we can bring someone up, but this is going to be a 5-year process. So that's why digital technology is ramping up, because within a very short period of time, we can train someone. The manufacturer can help me train someone real quick and get them on board and be productive in weeks versus years.
That's great. We're going to take our first break, and we have a little segment we're going to show you on Penn-Northwest Development Corporation. We're sitting down with Randy Beck from the SCP Group in Sharon, Pennsylvania, and we'll be right back after the break.
Is your company looking to expand and grow? Then Mercer County, Pennsylvania is the right place for you. Whether your company is involved in manufacturing, technology, logistics, health, or business services, shale gas exploration, or retail, we can help. Mercer County, Pennsylvania offers low-cost land, valuable infrastructure, a quality labor force, and the right financial tools to make your corporate expansion an affordable reality. Mercer County is only a day's drive to major markets including Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Buffalo, New York City, Chicago, and even southern Canada. Companies like GE Transportation, Joy Cone Company choose to make it in Mercer County, and Penn-Northwest wants to show you how your company can also make it in Mercer County too. Our team of experts will help you expand and save dollars. How does Penn-Northwest do it? How does Penn-Northwest save companies so much money? with a combination of low-interest loans, grants and credits, tax abatements, and even tax-free property. Here's the best part. Penn-Northwest will do most of the work for you. Just click on the button below and get the process started. Or you can first get an idea of how your organization can make it in Mercer County by using the savings estimator located at makeitinmercercounty.com. You'll see that expanding your business in Mercer County, Pennsylvania is the move that makes the most dollars and cents. Call Penn-Northwest Development Corporation at 724-662-3705 for more information.
We hope you're enjoying this edition of Discover Mercer County Business. I'm Rod Wild, and we are back with Randy Beck from the SCP Group in Sharon, Pennsylvania. Randy, before we took a break, I just wanted to get started with, it's been a long relationship between Sharon Commercial Printing, the SCP Group, and Penn-Northwest Development Corporation. I know that we rely on you folks a lot for our annual report, our programs of work, a lot of other stuff that we do for our members. But talk a little bit about what you've seen economic development wise in the county. You've been active in a lot of different areas over the years. So talk a little bit about the relationship that you folks have with Penn-Northwest and then other areas of the community where you're active. I know you've been active on the United Way board and others. So
Penn-Northwest has been wonderful from, I kind of like grew up with it. I just thought it was in the business, and it had always been there. Our relationship has been strong throughout the years. Good support back and forth for each other. I would highly recommend anyone get involved in it. Very highly recommend it. It's been very proactive and positive.
that's nice to hear. I'm glad when people like us. That makes things a lot easier for sure. But I know that I know we've been there to kind of help through some of those expansions and things that the company has done. But you're also active in a lot of other areas in the community. Talk about those a little bit.
Very active in my church. We'd mentioned the United Way. United Way is still a very good way in which to give. They do a nice job of what I call vetting out and making sure the dollar that I give is going to go and be used for something. Most of that money is going to get to the person who needs it. And I think that's really important in this day and age.
It certainly has, and we at Penn-Northwest are looking for more ways to partner with them. In fact, this morning of the day that we're taping here, we actually had a meeting with them about co-sponsoring their golf outing and turning it into a major fundraiser for them. So,
Good.
yeah, we're also involved with the United Way locally, and then our friends over in Trumbull County as well on a large federal grant that will be used for some more training and things in the workplace to support workers returning to work after COVID. So we have a long-standing relationship with United Way that we're looking to build on as well. You're a relatively lifelong resident of Mercer County, but for those years that you were in the military, what are some of the strengths and what are some of the things you think the county needs to work on to recruit some folks back into the county? It's no secret we've been losing population. So what are the things you like, and what are some of the things that you really think we need to work on?
Well, that's a great question. What I've found in Mercer County is when there's a problem, Mercer County does a pretty good job in fixing it. The only problem I see is they don't tout that they've fixed it.
Right.
And we kind of don't talk good about ourselves sometimes. We look at maybe the sins of our fathers or something like that, and we say, we shrug it off, but we don't say all the positive things that are here. I'm happy and thrilled that my kids were born and grew up in Mercer County.
Yeah, and I raised my son here as well until high school, and now he's down in the North Hills of Pittsburgh. But I'm really looking forward to finding opportunities for him to get closer back here and kind of do what I did, which is go to Pittsburgh for a while and come back. When you look forward, bringing this back around to the future of the SCP Group, where is the company heading now in the 22nd century, and now you're getting close to your, let's see, you said you bought it in 1976, so you're heading towards your 50th anniversary here. So what does the future hold for the company?
Great question. I evaluate that a lot. Printing is not going to go away, but how it's used, needed, and purchased is changing on a regular basis. The purchaser that we were most comfortable and they were comfortable with us has probably retired. And so now I'm in a new generation of purchaser, and they're very smart, but they're still learning themselves. And so part of my job actually is to educate my buyer. And that's great, the younger generation coming in. But it's I would say it's a long process, or it's not a quick process.
And are you expanding the offerings and things that you're into as well? Are you into more
Yes.
graphics and different types of vinyls and things like that? Or how's the product? I guess my question is, how have the products expanded over the years?
Printing is somewhat flatlined, but it's not going away. So you kind of like, I hate to say this, but you need to be the last man standing a little bit in that one. Signage is a nice growth industry.
The signage is.
Yeah. And so, and they work really well together between printing and signage. So we're able to, if someone's interested in printing, we can offer signage and vice versa. So they work hand in hand with each other. So,
And that gets into the whole vehicle wrap, that whole thing.
Right.
And you're into that stuff now too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exciting. That's exciting. I know we've been working with you on a proposal for more vinyl for our windows and doors and inside the office and things like that. And I guess I just had no idea about the growth of the product line and how the company had branched out into those different areas. And I guess that has something to do with the Sharon Commercial Printing name to move into the SCP Group.
Yes.
How do companies get a hold of you and your staff and your team?
We're on the internet at scpgroup.net, and we also have we went into a very interesting business. It's a retail business for people who buy labels and products for the beer industry. So it's a niche.
So you're making labels for bottles?
Yes, we make labels for beer bottles, coasters, you name it, for that industry.
For that growing microbrew.
Yeah.
Which some of those microbrews, even in the area now, aren't so micro anymore. They're really
that industry is going to change too. It's going to go from there's thousands of microbrewers, and that'll probably whittle down over the next couple of years. But
now, how did that niche come about? Someone just came to you one day and said, "Hey, can you make a label for my bottle?" And you're like, "Hey, there's a new market for us."
No, we sat down and we figured, hey, we have printing is so broad, and it's very difficult to market. Say, okay, we're a printer, so try to get found on the internet. But
yeah, okay.
But if you're printing something very specific, so instead of being wide in our offerings, we went narrow but deep. And so that's working. But, again, we're trying to get found is always the trick. And that's what we work on daily.
So all you microbrewers out there, when you come to labeling up those bottles, you need to give Randy Beck a call. That's fantastic.
Every once in a while, they give us a sample. Not bad.
Not bad. Not bad. Not bad at all. Randy, thanks a lot for your time today. And we hope our viewers learned a lot from your company and the long history of it. And I know we really appreciate the relationship that Penn-Northwest has with SCP Group. And to our viewers, I just want to say thank you for watching this edition of Discover Mercer County Business. Also want to thank our guest again, Randy Beck from the SCP Group, for making it in Mercer County. And he's been making it in Mercer County for a long time. We're producing this show in the state-of-the-art TV and radio studios in the James Pettis Communications Center on Teals campus in Greenville. And we want to thank the students, faculty, and staff who have helped bring this edition of the show to life. If you have an idea or a suggestion for a future edition of Discover Mercer County Business, please connect with our Improvement Movement team on our website at penn-northwest.com or give us a call at 724-662-3705. And remember, you can also find out more about Penn-Northwest Development Corporation by searching for us on YouTube or connecting with us on LinkedIn and other social media platforms. We hope you enjoyed this edition of Discover Mercer County Business. I'm Rod Wilt with Penn-Northwest.